Hello, welcome to A Lovely Yarn Podcast. My name is Amber, and I thought I would take a few minutes here at the beginning of this episode just to do a little bit of a reintroduction. Since I posted my latest episode, which was 25 patterns for a single skein of fingering weight yarn, I have had a substantial amount of new subscribers. So I just wanted to do a little bit of a reintroduction of myself. So I am a mother of three and married to my high school sweetheart. We live in Western Pennsylvania in a very beautiful area, especially this time of year. I am very partial to the spring and summer in our area. We live out in a rural area, and we used to have a small homestead where we raised alpacas and we had goats and chickens, and I think and rabbits. But since I think maybe 6 years ago, we rehomed our last small livestock animal, and now we have 2 indoor dogs and 1 outdoor cat. So but I'm still a gardener. I have always been a gardener. I probably always will be a gardener. So I do a lot of gardening in the summertime, spring and summer, and that fills me with a lot of joy. Let me think. My children I have 2 boys and 1 daughter, and they are 27, 20, and 18. I homeschooled my younger 2. My oldest we adopted him when he was 13, and then he went to, he did several different things for schooling, but my youngest 2 I homeschooled through from the very get-go, and I'm about to graduate my last child. So my 18-year-old daughter is graduating this month from her senior year of high school. And so my middle son is getting married next year, and my oldest son got married almost 3 years ago now. So I'm moving into that new season of my life. It feels a bit scary, maybe a little bit of excitement wrapped up in there as well, but I really love my children. And so I feel like I'm dealing more with trying to figure it out. But that's just a little bit of a quick introduction to who I am. And I'm also a knitter. Of course, the family stuff all comes first, but I'm also a knitter. I crochet, I spin yarn, what else do I do? I do all kinds of little crafty things. And the one thing I would say I'd like to learn to do more of, but not right now because I don't feel that I have the time, is sewing. I actually have a really nice sewing machine. I used to sew more, but I don't sew. I think the last time I sewed anything was in 2020 when I was making masks, and I kind of just tucked my sewing machine away, and I haven't even pulled it out since then. Maybe someday I will get back into sewing, but that is the one craft that is probably the most intimidating to me because I don't know, it just seems like a lot. But I like to try things, and I like to be creative. So I think that's enough for me to tell you. I do want to go ahead and start this out with the giveaway winner of so for that last episode, I had featured those 25 patterns, which if you guys can go back and reference that. And if you click on the Ravelry bundle link in the video description of that video, that will take you to a bundle I've put together on Ravelry. And there's actually more than 25 in that bundle. It's just that I didn't have the time to sit there. I think there might be 40 some. I just knew that to go through 40 some patterns on a podcast episode would just be a lot. So I just threw them in there and included them, and you guys can check them out on your own time. But I want to go ahead and announce the giveaway winner. I actually ended up picking 2 winners because I had like 570 comments on that video. And I think the reason it really got out there was because you guys are such awesome viewers and you liked the video and you know, commenting and stuff. That really helped. So I want to go ahead and pick 2 winners for that video. And these winners will be able to choose any single skein pattern that I featured, or if they have one that they prefer that they have found on their own, and I will gift that to them, and it's on Ravelry. So up to like, I don't know, let's say up to $10. Okay, a pattern up to $10. So first winner, the one that I used a random comment picker on the internet to pick these winners. There was nothing, it was just completely random. And the first winner is Patsy Coates 4061. I'll go ahead and put the picture up here so you guys know. And then the second winner is Debbie Flowers 1488. So ladies, if you could please contact me, preferably you could respond to this video, but just in case I don't see that, if you could please look down in the video description of this video, and there is a link to my email, and if you could just send me an email on there, and then I can get your Ravelry details and you can let me know what pattern you would like. I know that you both listed patterns on your comment, but if you've changed your mind, that's fine. We can go ahead and do another one. So if you could just get in touch with me, we'll take care of that, and I will get your pattern sent to you electronically very quickly. Now, because of that episode and the success it had, it kind of blew my mind how well it did, and I thought, I guess, because I wasn't even sure if I wanted to do that episode. I didn't know if there would be a lot of interest, so I kind of put the feelers out there in my last episode, and multiple people said, yeah, we would love an episode like that. So I want to put this out there for you guys. If there are any special episode topics that you think that you would like for me to do, could you please put them down below? I'm already planning a summer knits episode. I was going to do one last year and I ran out of time, but I've already started researching. I think I already have about 20 patterns, and I'm probably going to keep it around there. But I want to do that in the next couple of weeks because, you know, it is getting to be that time of year. So I thought about that one. One of the viewers commented on my last special episode that they would like a single skein DK weight episode. So patterns that use single skeins of DK weight. At least I think that's what the viewer meant. If not, please clarify. So that was another suggestion. And then I also thought about, let me know what you guys think about this. In that video from last week, many suggestions were given in the comment section about other single skein projects for fingering weight yarn. And so I thought about doing a part 2 for that, but I don't want to like overkill it. You know what I mean? So maybe I could do that later, like at the end of summer. Just let me know if you have any ideas, and it doesn't even, I don't know, anything. I know a lot of you have been asking me for my sourdough process. Those of you who have watched my vlogs have seen me doing bits and pieces of my sourdough process. I have to think about that. I have to think about how I would do that. I feel like it would be a tough video and a big time commitment because my process takes 2 days. I don't know. And another thing is I feel like I have found a very good method for me, but I'm definitely not an expert in sourdough. So I feel like there's so many experts out there on YouTube. I haven't decided if I'm going to take the plunge and do the sourdough video or not. I don't know. I'm thinking about that one still. Let's get into the knitting now. So first off, I'm going to tell you what I'm wearing. This is the Rift by Jacqueline Cieslak. I knit this multiple years ago. I don't even remember. In fact, I didn't keep track of this on Ravelry, which is nothing new for me. I'm horrible with keeping track of projects on Ravelry and otherwise. I'm trying to get better, guys, because I have my knitting journal, and I haven't been writing down all of my patterns that I've worked on, but I have been doing, I would say I've been recording more than I've not recorded. But, so this is the Rift. I don't know what size it is, and I don't know what the yarn is, other than I know it is a Quince Co yarn, and it is a linen and cotton blend. So probably a DK weight. That is all I know. I'm so sorry. I got on Ravelry thinking maybe I kept track, but I couldn't find it on there. So, but I do love this pattern. I actually wear this quite a bit in the summer, not heat of the summer, but in the cooler days of summer, like 70s. So today it's like 68, I think, and I have it over a dress. It's perfect. So yes, this is what I'm wearing. Really like this pattern, and I would recommend this pattern. In fact, I want to make another one. I have the yarn for another one, but I just haven't done it yet. Okay, let's move into my finished objects, and I actually have, I think I have three. I have 3 finished objects, which is pretty good. I feel like I have so many whips going on right now. It's gotten a little bit out of control. So the fact that I have been able to finish some has been really good. But the first project that I finished that I want to talk about is the puff shawl. And this was an impulsive cast on, and I knit it so quickly. I definitely recommend this pattern. It was so enjoyable to knit. It flew by. And this is a pattern by Lisa Nooch. And it's already blocked. It's all ready to wear. Although I probably won't be wearing it anytime soon because we are heading into the warm time of our year here in Western Pennsylvania. This may not, who knows? I mean, it was chilly this morning and in the evening. I might. But let me tell you what I made this out of. This is made out of 2 different yarns. The one yarn is Wren House Yarns, and this is still Magnolia. It's a 100% superwash yarn, fingering weight. And I alternated, so this is these garter stitches, or garter ridges right here. And then the contrast color is Drops Kidsilk in the color 27. Now the pattern calls for you to alternate 1 skein of the mohair with 1 skein of fingering weight yarn. After reading the Ravelry pages and thinking about it, I decided to hold 2 skeins of the mohair together and alternate that with 1 skein of the fingering weight, because I have to say that although I like holding mohair with other yarns, I do not like knitting mohair 1 strand by itself. The gauge is loose and it feels sloppy to me, so holding the 2 together fixed that for me. Another thing I did different was, instead of knitting on size US 8 needles, I went to US 6, and I'm pretty sure that affected it a little bit, but not too much as far as like how big my shawl actually ended up. It's still really nice and long. I'll try it on here so you can see. And this actually blocked out beautifully. It blocked out significantly because when I cast it off, I was a little worried that it was going to be too short as far as like length of it. I was afraid that it was not going to be big enough to wrap around my neck and do the little tie thing and keep the tie thing there without it coming unraveled. But it is perfect now. I didn't even block it that aggressively. It was just soaking it in the wool wash in the water. It just really opened up the gauge and it blocked out beautifully. It dried super fast because it is such a lightweight shawl. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to tell you about it. Yeah, I don't think so. I will show you what I have left. So I was all organized and I measured. So I actually this was 100 grams and I have 32 of this left. And then I have 15 grams each of these 25 gram each balls left of the mohair. So I'll do something with these. I don't know. I already have a sweater planned. I actually purchased this plus other skeins of the same color to make a sweater that I have not casted on yet. But that's pretty good. So I got a whole shawl out of that. I'm not going to leave it on though because it is 68 degrees and it is a little bit warm. But oops, upside down. But what really appealed to me about this shawl were those fun little puffs of the mohair. And these are achieved by doing short rows, and I wasn't sure how I would feel about it. I actually don't mind doing short rows. I always do German short rows. I don't like wrap and turns. I think doing a wrap and turn leaves a hole and that bothers me. So I always sub out the German short rows, which I was just coincidentally listening to a podcast, and whoever it was, I don't remember who, said that they had watched a video by a well-known knitter that I also cannot think of the name of that knitter, who said that you cannot sub out German short rows for wrap and turns. I always do, so maybe I'm doing something wrong, but it's always worked out okay. So I always do that. So instead of doing wrap and turns as the pattern called for, I did German short rows, and I loved those little rows of the short rows. They were fun. They were fun to make. This was such an easy pattern. I flew through it because you're constantly alternating colors, so it's really fun. And I carried the yarn up the sides. I carried it up the side. That way I didn't have to, oh my gosh, could you imagine if you would cut your yarn at every color change. I just carried it. And I don't think you can tell. So yeah, really fun shawl. I would definitely make this again. I think it would make a good gift too, because it is a shawl. Technically it's a crescent shaped shawl, which is my favorite shape of shawl, by the way. But it's also more like a scarf in that it's not super deep. So somebody that's not a shawl wearer might actually still really like this because it's like a scarf. You just tie it around, do a little knot, and you're set. Okay, my second finished object is another shawl, and I showed this, I think, a couple of episodes ago. Maybe it was my last regular episode. It's been a while because I did 2 vlogs and then I did the special edit episode, so I'm kind of forgetting everything. But this is the Stormborn wrap, and this is my 2.0 version of it, because in April I did one that I will put up here if I can find the picture of it, and I liked the pattern so much that I decided to cast on, and I guess it's not casting on, this is a crochet pattern, so I decided to start another one right away. And these were both crocheted with the intention of being prayer shawls. So this is my second. I love this color of yarn. This is Lion brand Respun, and it is like the mega skein, and I used all of it but this tiny ball to do this entire shawl and the 3 rather large tassels. So I crocheted this as the pattern stated, except down here I did something a little bit different with the border. I may not have done as many double crochet rows, I can't remember, but I definitely know that I added a single crochet border here. The pattern did not call for that, but I like the structure that a single crochet row gave on the edging of a shawl rather than just stopping with a double crochet, which is a bit more flimsy in my opinion. So I went ahead and did the single crochet, and let me show you the bobbles. We've got some bobbles going on, some lace areas. I mentioned this in my last episode when I talked about this. This is a free pattern, but I actually also purchased the PDF version of this pattern. I think it's only on Etsy. I can't remember, but again, it'll be linked down below. The reason I did that is because although I was a crocheter before I was a knitter, I definitely knit more than I crochet now, and so my crocheting skills have gotten slightly rusty. Also, I have always had a harder time reading my stitches at the end of each row. If you are a crocheter, perhaps you understand what I'm saying. If not, then this may not make sense. But knitting, it's very obvious because you have a certain amount of stitches on your needles. So when you've knitted the last stitch on the needle, all your needles are now over on your right hand needle. With crocheting, it's different. So sometimes you get to the end of the row and you're like, oh, is that a stitch I'm supposed to crochet into, or is that like, is that not? And so unless you go back and count all of them, which I did find myself doing that quite a bit doing the shawl, you're not going to know for certain. And then sometimes you can end up with some wonky edges. The chart helped me with that. Because it shows placement of stitches, it was very helpful for me to have that visualization. So for me, I think it was like the pattern was $3 to $4. It was worth it to pay that. And I've already knit this I've already crocheted this twice. I appreciate the designer taking time to design this. I really like it. So it's not a big deal to me to pay for the PDF so that I can have access to a chart so I can see the placement of stitches. I found that very helpful. Okay, my last finished object is a pair of socks, Shorty Socks to be exact. I don't think I showed these as a finished object. I know I didn't show them at all on my last episode. I knit these for my mom. They were to be a Mother's Day gift, which here in the United States, Mother's Day was just this past Sunday. So today's May 14th. I guess I forgot to say that in the beginning of the video. So on May 12th, is that right? Or am I always get my dates mixed up. Anyway, 2 days ago, it was Mother's Day. The funny thing is, I had bought my mom some plants and a pair of handmade earrings, and then I knew I had these, but I had forgotten I had finished them. So Mother's Day came and I was like, oh no, I can't give her those socks today because I have to close up the toes on both of them. Instead of me just finding the socks and looking to verify that, I just thought, okay, whatever, I'll give them to her when I finish them. I gave her her other gift and I told her, by the way, your socks aren't done yet. Well, today when I was gathering my stuff to film this podcast episode, I thought, oh, I want to close up those toes really quickly before I film. And so I grabbed the bag that had the socks in them and they were both finished. So I don't know. That happens in my mind sometimes. This is Supergarne Activ, and the colorway will be down in the video description because it's not an actual colorway name. It's just a number. I knit these. This is not my usual color choice because it's boring and dark and I like to knit with lighter, brighter colors. But my mom really wanted some socks with black in them to go with some of her outfits. So because I love my mom, I did that. I actually, for the ribbing, I did 12 rounds of ribbing. Then I did 7 rounds of stockinette before starting the heel flap. And that came out to be a really nice shorty sock. Sometimes I have found that if I knit my shorty socks too short on this part, they slip down over the back of my heel when I'm wearing them with tennis shoes. And that's annoying. I don't like that at all. I can wear them in the house. They don't slip down then, but if I have any type of shoe on, they will work their way down under my heel. So I knit this one so that it was a bit taller, and I think that that will be avoided doing that. But yeah, this is just, there's nothing much to say. This is, I think, 60 stitches that I cast on size US 0 9-inch circulars, and it's my basic pattern that I just have stored in my head. I just made it shorty sock instead of like a longer sock. Okay, I have 2 whips that I want to talk to you guys about. I actually have way more whips than that. I don't know who I am anymore. I used to be so much more of a monogamous knitter, and now I've got whips everywhere, and I've got a shelf on my bookcase in my closet, and it has probably 6 projects in there right now that are whips, and then I have 2 that I'm going to show you, and that's not counting the blankets that I'm also making at the present time. So I've probably got like 12 whips going on right now, which is, honestly, I don't like that, but it is what it is. I keep getting these ideas and then I cast on something else, and that's what happens. But I want to talk about my Sonder sweater. This is a pattern by the Petite Knitter. I haven't talked about this for a while because I just kind of laid it down for a while because I was feeling a little bit nervous about the direction it was going. So when I did talk about this last, I had mentioned that I thought I had knit one size too big. So I chose to knit the size 4 based upon my full bust circumference measurement. And I should have chosen the size 3 and based it upon my upper bust measurement, which I forgot that I get a better fit when I do that. So a viewer reminded me of that in that one video. So I've just kind of been modifying this as I go. Let me show you. I actually bound off the body. It's so pretty. I love this yoke. I'm still slightly concerned. The yoke, when I see, it hasn't been blocked yet, but when I try this on, the yoke feels a bit big. And a bit big and a bit, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not going to make any more comments about it. I'm not going to worry about it until I block it and see how it all relaxes and everything. But I will say that if I ever knit this again, this pattern, I will knit a size 3 instead of the size 4. So I just took my lifeline out because I binded off the other night. I did a tubular bind off because I really like a tubular bind off. It's worth the extra effort in my opinion, especially on a garment that you're putting hours of your life into. And it wasn't until I actually bound off that I pulled out my lifeline. I left that lifeline in because I was so worried that I was going to have to rip it all back. But what I ended up doing is I just tried to put in, they were kind of random, but then they kind of weren't. I just did decreases down each side. And I I would try it on as I went. So I would knit some, I would put it on the try it on tubing, and then I would try it on, and then I would say, oh yeah, I probably need to decrease. So I'd do work a couple of more decreases on for a while, and then I would try it on again. And I just did that the whole way down through because I didn't want it to be like so much extra fabric. I really wish the yoke was a bit smaller, but it's okay. I'm going with it. It's gonna work. It's gonna work out. It'll just be a little bit bigger than I wanted it to be, but I don't think it's going to be so big that it looks sloppy, because I do have a all over color work sweater that I still have not pulled out yet because I just can't even, because it's all over color work. The whole thing is sloppy looking because it's so huge. I'm not getting that same feeling with this, so I think we're going to be okay. This is Purl Soho Good Wool. That's my yarn, and this red color is Barn Door. The contrast color is called Pink Salt. It looks white on camera, but it's actually a really beautiful light pink. And I was inspired for this color combo by Stephanie of Edible Thoughts Makes. She has the best. She chooses the best colors. Every time I watch her videos, and she always picks such colorful things. Like I feel I always want to stay with more safe neutrals. Probably because most of my wardrobe, that fits in with most of my wardrobe better. But when I watch her and she is picking all these different beautiful colors, and she uses a lot of Purl Soho yarn as well, so it's easy to access, and Purl Soho is constantly doing like coupons and stuff. I'm always inspired by her color choices. But yes, so that is what I have. I just picked up stitches this morning for the sleeve, so I'm starting that, and I'm actually going to decrease this sleeve like I would decrease a size 3 sleeve. After my sweater, what was that sweater called? I've shown it on here so many times, I cannot think of it. I did the decreases on that sweater sleeve like it said in the pattern, and it got way too tight, and I was thinking the same thing was going to happen with this sweater, so I'm decreasing at a slower rate than the pattern called for the size I was knitting. Now, I'm going to get this done really soon. I have already decided that because it's been on the needles for a while, and I want to get it done, and I want to get it blocked because I really want to see how that's going to fit me in the end. But I'm probably not going to be wearing this anytime soon. This is probably going to come back out next late fall, and I will wear it then, most likely. So, but I am excited to have finally bind it off the body and have the sleeves going. The last whip that I'm going to talk about is a pair of socks that I just casted on last week. I think it was last weekend. I don't know. I don't even know how I've knit so much on these, to be honest, because I've been doing so many things lately, knitting and otherwise. So these are a gift for someone, but these are not, there's no rush for me to get these done. And I'm loving this yarn combo. So let me tell you what that is. Hopefully I have both of the tags. Yeah, I do. So the main color is Drops Fable print. I had gotten a bunch of this, I think it was last year. It was on sale at Wool Warehouse, I believe, and I ordered a bunch of it. And the first skein that I used, not of this color, it was a different colorway. It was very splitty, and I thought, oh great, I ordered all this Drops Fable and I don't like it because it's so splitty. But I've knit 2 other colorways since then, so 3 total. This is my so 3 total, and 2 of the other colorways they were perfectly fine. The yarn wasn't splitty. So I don't know if it was just that one particular skein, but this has been perfect. And so that's a Drops Fable, and I'll put the color down below because it's just a number. And then I'm contrasting it with this Knit Picks Stroll. And again, this is, Sapphire Heather is the name of it. And I have the cuff started on the other one because that's probably No, the heel is my least favorite thing to knit on socks, the heel flap. I have wanted to try a different method for the sock heel so many times, but this one fits so well that I always just keep doing the heel flap and then the gusset, but it's my least favorite part. But I do know that I thought if I get this second one started, because I had an open set of size, I think this is size 1 needle, US 1 9-inch circulars. I thought if I get this going, then I will be ready to go when I finish the sock. It'll be so much faster. I'll keep the motivation up to get these socks done. So yeah, it's just a vanilla sock pattern. Like I said, same with the shorties. I have a vanilla sock pattern in my mind that I don't really need instructions for. I just adjust numbers and length based upon who I'm making the socks for. Okay, now I just want to take a couple of minutes to talk about future knits. And I really was not in the mood to knit any summery garments. I was like, I don't think I'm going to knit any summery garments this year. I have probably 5 shirts like this that I've knit. I think almost all of them are knitted out of Drops Bell, which is my favorite yarn to knit summer shirts out of. And I think the biggest reason for that is because the price point is so affordable, and these are not garments that I wear all year round, because I mean I could wear them all year round. I just don't find myself wearing them all year round. Our summer season is kind of short, although lately it seems to be getting longer as far as the amount of warmer days we have, but I just have a harder time investing more money into a summer shirt than I do like a full sweater. But I want to knit 2 different things right now are on my radar that I want to cast on soon. The first one is a tank, and it is called the Soho top. It's by Cadre, and I thought that this would I like that garter. I like the look of the garter fabric. I have a couple of other tanks saved, and I'm going to be talking about them in a future episode, but they're stockinette fabric. I really like the look of this garter. I'm hoping I like the look of it when it's on my body, but right now I really like the look of it. And I've actually had this particular pattern saved for, I think since she released this pattern, which I don't remember if was that last year or the year before. Time goes so quickly that I don't know for certain, but I've had this pattern saved for a very long time, and so I'm going to go ahead and just go for it this year. Okay, the second thing I want to knit has also been on my favorites list for a while, and it is the Ingrid Summer Sweater by Gregoria Fibers. This is a DK weight pattern, and the yarn that she uses for this is actually a blend of linen, cotton, and silk. I don't have any yarn that is quite that content, but what I do have, and I haven't decided, I need to knit up a gauge swatch and see if this is going to give me the drape, because I want this to be drapey. But I got this last year at a sale, a yarn sale. It says $11, but I think I paid 40% off of that. So, and it is a blend of 95% cotton and then 5% other fibers. It's Barocco Indigo, recycled denim, and cotton. I have 4 skeins of it, which that might not even be enough. I need to check on sizing. So perhaps what I could do, if I don't have enough in this, or if I don't like the gauge swatch, the drapiness of it, the fabric that I get with this for the Ingrid summer shirt, I might actually use a couple of skeins of this to make that Soho top. I just need to do a little bit of playing around. But I like that Ingrid summer sweater. It's not going to be something I wear in the heat of the summer, the deep summer, but it would be absolutely perfect for right now, like spring and then early autumn, because it's still, and it's like ventilated because of all those pretty eyelets. I love the look of that. I love the look. It's just so pretty to me. And I like how it looks loose and boxy. It just looks like a very nice, cool, but yet warming sweater. So those are my plans. I just need to figure the yarn out for both of them. Have you knit either of those patterns? If you have, let me know how they turned out for you. when I find a pattern that I like on Ravelry, I'll often go and look through project pages and see how they look on other people. Because as a designer, I would imagine that there is a lot of time spent in taking those photos and just standing the right way so that you get the perfect photo for your design. So I like to see what the designs look like on real people. Not that the designer's not a real person, but like not as staged. I like to see what it looks like in a situation that is not as staged as a photo that's being taken for a design page. That's what I meant by that. Now, I've had a few of you request books that I've read, like to kind of do a little section with books. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then do a little bit of a life update. So if those things don't interest you, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time, hopefully next week or in 2 weeks, depending. I've had a lot of energy, so I've been posting a lot, but we will see. But I want to go through just a few books that I've read lately. I'm not a booktuber or whatever they're called. They're just books that I've enjoyed. I've had a lot of luck lately with books, and all of the books that I have read in the last month at least, last month and a half, have, I think all of them I've rated either 4 or 5 stars on Goodread. If you want to follow me on Goodread, by the way, that link is down below as well. So the first one is Pax Journey Home. This is definitely a book written for like elementary, upper elementary, junior high, but my nephew this is the sequel to the first one. The first one is actually just called Pax. He had both of them because he had to read them for school this year, and I had heard of them, and so I borrowed both of them and I read them both, and I really liked them. I mean, again, it's for upper elementary, junior high, but touched my heart. So that is the first one that I wanted to talk about. The next 2 books that I read were actually audiobooks, which I know that there are people who say that if you listen to a book, that does not count as reading it. I am not one of those people. I am still taking in the information. I'm still taking in the words. I'm still taking in the whole story. So I count it as a book that I've read. Have I physically read it with my eyes? No, but I'm still reading the author's ideas and words. So I count it as being read. So those 2 books were both done. I got them on my Libby app. And the first one is, I just finished it yesterday. It is called The Berry Pickers. This is a story by Amanda Peters. And this was a very interesting one. It took place in the 1950s as well as more present day. I can't remember. Like it spanned several decades. And it was about a young Native American girl, a 4-year-old, who went missing one day, and just the mystery around that. I don't want to give a lot away, but really good book. I gave it 5 stars. The other one that I listened to was called The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, and this is a memoir that she wrote about her life growing up as a very poor family. They kind of moved around, but a lot of it took place in the Appalachian Mountain Ridge of West Virginia. And it's a true story based upon her life. I read this because there actually is a movie about this book on Netflix, and I saw that and I was going to watch it, and then I saw the book and I thought, oh, I'd rather read the book first. So I read the book. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars. I will say just up front, there is a lot of language in this book. She grew up in a very loving but hard family, and so that comes through in some of the language and some of the content. So if you are sensitive to that, I want to just put that out front. And then the other book that I read, this is one I actually read. It was called Remarkably Bright Creatures. I had been hearing about this book for a while and hearing how good it was, and I was like, I don't know. When I read the synopsis of it, I thought that doesn't really sound good to me. But I was able to get it through my Libby app on my Kindle, and I read it. It was really good. It was one of those books that made me feel good and kind of warmed my soul, and I ended up giving it 5 stars. I just went to the library yesterday and I picked up 2 other books. The first one is by Kate Morton. It's called Homecoming. I started reading this on my Kindle through my Libby app, but I'm running out of time and there are people waiting for the book, so I knew I wasn't going to get it finished. It's a pretty long book. And so my library, I was so happy they had it. And it is kind of like I like Kate Morton. I have read other books of hers, but it's kind of like a murder mystery, but not in the, it's not, I wouldn't consider this murder mystery genre. It's more of a drama with murder mystery in it. And so far, I'm enjoying it. I'm not very far in. I think I'm like 70 some pages in, so I'm not very far in yet. But while I was there, I found this other book, and honestly, I was intrigued by the title and by the cover. Covers really do it for me. I'm trying to keep my library thing covered up. So this is called The Tobacco Wives by Adele Myers. And this book is set in the South in the 1940s. And it is about a young seamstress who uncovers dangerous truths about the big tobacco industry. So, yeah, I've heard nothing about this book. I was simply intrigued by the cover, and then the synopsis of the book also seemed very interesting. So I picked this up. Am I going to get both of these books read in the next 2 weeks? Absolutely not. I am going to have to be renewing these. But, you know, that's how it is. I just do that sometimes. Yeah. So that's what I've been reading. A little bit of a garden update. It is mid-May now. I still have not really planted anything in the ground. I have my seeds going in the basement still. They're actually more like small plants now. My peppers are not as far along as I would like them. So next year I need to make a note in my gardening journal that I need to start those earlier, much earlier. The tomatoes are beautiful. They're ready to be put in whenever I feel comfortable with the weather. I've got some flowers and stuff. I'm trying to think if I have the asparagus right now it's a perennial plant. So it is, of course, coming on like crazy, and we've been eating asparagus almost every day. I'm not complaining, I'm just stating. And I'm just in that place right now where I keep thinking, should I put this stuff out or should I wait? Because at the end of April, it seemed like summer was here for sure. And I was like, how could we possibly get any more cold weather? But then last week it was cold. I'm not going to say cold, but we had nighttime temperatures in the low 40s. And so I was really glad that I didn't put like my tomatoes and stuff out, because tomatoes do not like cold weather. They are very much warm weather lovers. And so I think what I'm going to do is wait until this weekend, check the forecast for the next 10 days, check the nighttime forecast and see where we're looking at there. And then if it looks like we're going to stay the 50s and above, I'll go ahead and start planting stuff in the ground in my garden outside. I really want to get to that, but I also have done it in the past and regretted it, because then we've got really, we've gotten freakishly cold weather or a frost, which I really do not. I hope we don't get another frost at this point, but I just don't know. It's Western Pennsylvania, and I know other gardeners deal with this in their areas as well. It's just I'm not comfortable quite yet. I need to make sure that we're going to be good. And yes, I could cover things, but I don't have covers to put on things. I mean, I do have old, like in the past, I have taken the pots that, like I save my bigger pots that plants come in, and then I'll put them over the plant, but I just don't feel like dealing with that. I'd rather wait another week or two and put it all out when I know it's going to be safe. So that is the garden update. It is starting, it's beautiful out. I mean, it's completely green now. The last of our oak trees they have their leaves now, and they're the last ones on our property I forget if did I say oak? Red oak or white oak? I forget which ones. Oak are always the last to get their leaves, but one of those two happen even later than the other. I can't remember which one. But yesterday when I was out mowing, I noticed that all of our oak trees now have their leaves. They're not really, really full yet, but they do have their leaves. And we have been mowing like every 5 days. So that's kept us busy. But yes, love this time of year. Lots of energy flowing, lots of ideas, just ready to get out there. I've been spending a ton of time outside. It's wonderful. My favorite time of the year. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know, as I said earlier in the video, let me know down below if you have any ideas for any special episodes, any content for those that I could maybe consider and do a special episode in the future. I really have a fun time gathering that information for those. I like doing those type of videos. I just want to know what you guys want to learn about or what you want to hear about. It makes it easier for me as I'm preparing those. And the 2 winners of the pattern giveaway, just again, contact me using my email down below, and I will get all of that situated so you guys can get your patterns and cast on with those beautiful skeins of yarn that you have. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon.